Okay, so here we are in Stalingrad. Now we are going to visit the Motherland Calls statue. So this is quite, I guess a lot of people might not know about Stalingrad, but this is the location of the bloodiest battle in human history. So of all time, about 2 million people died here. Now estimates vary, but if you actually think that in perspective, 2 million is like the population of Perth, Australia. It is absolutely a horrific battle, and it was one of the turning points of World War II. And obviously with so many deaths, there's a big commemoration here. And we're going to go up the stairs now in a minute. This used to be the tallest statue in the world as well. So it's 85 meters high. Don't count the pedestals because that's really stupid if a pedestal is as big as the statue. But there's no very minimal pedestal here. But we're going to go check this out. It's quite sobering. You can access the Motherland Calls from the bottom or take a taxi near the top. Of course, the right way is to arrive at the bottom and walk up the stairs through the Avenue of Poplars. Eventually, you end up at the Stand to the Death statue, symbolizing the most difficult period of the Battle of Stalingrad. A large, shirtless, muscle-bound Soviet soldier carved out of rock, surrounded by a pool of water. Written beneath him is, "Stand to the death, and not a step back." The next phase is the symbolic ruined walls, symbolizing the ruins of the city and immortalizing the heroes who defended it. Now, if the soldiers' eyes are closed, that means they died in the battle, and if they are open, that means they survived. All the writing on the walls are actually words that were written by soldiers in the ruins of the buildings of what was left in Stalingrad. As you climb up the steps, the closer you get to the memorial, the more real it becomes, the true cost of the war in Stalingrad. The Square of Heroes has a large wall which asks the question, with an iron wind blowing straight into their faces, they were still marching forward, and fear seized the enemy. Were they people who were attacking? Were they even mortal at all? The reply to this question is the 6 sculptural groups on the other side of the pool. The first of the group is inscribed, "We've stood out and defeated death." The second one is dedicated to nurses, the third to sea soldiers, the fourth to commemorate the commanders of the battle, and the fifth tells the story of saving the banner. And the sixth group represents the victory of Stalingrad and the end of the great battle. The war would be over. The Hall of Military Glory starts with Soviet artwork of soldiers celebrating the end of the war. Slogans like, "Our people will keep the memory of the greatest battle in the history of wars," in the walls of Stalingrad. Now walking up the stairs, this leads you to the main chamber of the Military Hall of Glory. It's really impressive, and this is where you'll see the changing of the guard that happens every hour at the Eternal Flame. This is sacred ground. Everyone is silent. There is no talking, and that automatically happens out of respect. The walls are covered in glass foil mosaics, with the names of 7,200 soldiers that died in the battle inscribed on the walls. Around the top of the hall lies the answer to the question, asked in the square below, were they mortals at all? It says, yes, we were only mortals and few of us survived it, but we all fulfill our patriotic duty to our sacred motherland. And this really adds to the atmosphere with the mournful music playing throughout the hall. Halfway around the hall, if you stand in the right angle, you can see the Motherland Calls through the opening in the ceiling. And as you exit the hall, you are at the base of the final pathway to the Motherland Calls statue. So here are the graves of 34,500 soldiers who died in the Battle of Stalingrad. It's a large number of graves, but a tiny percentage of the overall killed in battle. There's a pathway to walk to the top, but you can't walk on the grass. That's considered sacred ground and disrespectful to walk over the buried soldiers. It's really hard to fathom when you're thinking about all this and how war is so horrible and has always been the case. And to know, will we ever be rid of war? So tell me, who's the Motherland calling? Her left hand is showing the way towards Germany, where the enemy was, and her right hand has the sword calling the Soviets to defend their motherland from the enemy. The statue is really huge. Okay, so here we are. We're back at Mamayev Kurgan, this time for sunset, and because it actually lights up at night, and you have a very different experience at the Eternal Flame, and to see the Motherland is calling from like a night lit up experience. So yeah, I'll show you what we saw. Okay, so it's getting pretty dark, and you can see the flame in a totally different light. Okay, so there you go, lit up in all its glory. And then this is the Eternal Flame, lit up by the flame and no other lighting at night. Okay, so what do you think? It's definitely worth checking out at night. You get a totally different experience. Gotta come twice, day and night.